radio transponder. Boost pump we'll put on in a minute. Okay.
Skypark traffic, Cherokee 111, Quebec, taking active runway 17 to remain in pattern. Skypark traffic.
Echo is clear, be active.
We had an experimental that was downwind, didn't we? Or entering?
Yeah.
Well, we don't see it right now.
Lima Echo's already on the ground.
Transponder, we got boost pump on. Mixture mostly rich. Okay.
Skypark, Decathlon, 0 X-ray Delta's lining up on 17.
Okay.
Skypark traffic, Port Cruiser 140, Bravo Foxtrot, 5,500, just north of Lagoon, outbound. And 0 X-ray Delta's taking off 17, Skypark. Skypark traffic, Cherokee 111, Quebec, turning crosswind to runway 17, Skypark traffic.
You got him in sight?
Yep.
Skypark traffic, Cherokee 111, Quebec, on downwind for runway 17, Skypark traffic. And Skypark, Decathlon, 0 X-ray Delta, departing from downwind to the north. Skypark traffic, Cherokee 111, Quebec, on base to runway 17, touch and go, Skypark traffic.
So you got you down there.
Yeah, got him. He's lower than I expected.
Okay, your aeroplane.
Okay.
Well, we'll just go up to our practice area, because with this wind it might be fun to do some S-turns and see how you're doing.
Okay.
I'm just going to lean a little bit in case you hear any rough running. Sorry, I've probably got a little bit of nose up trim still. Just give you a little bit more down.
Thanks.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit more turbulent today with the wind we've got.
Sky Park 1157 X-ray. Taxi. Frames to run up. Sky Park.
Does trim seem okay?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky to tell, but yeah.
Well, it'll probably bounce around a little bit.
Or just make a little
Sky Park traffic, Cherokee 111, Quebec, turning crossing runway 17, Sky Park traffic.
Try that for a bit. Don't quite have the heading yet, do I?
Not quite, but you're close.
Traffic, Cherokee
Yeah.
111,
So,
that.
on downwind
yeah, that'll be good at the moment.
Touch and go, Sky Park
You could
traffic.
probably even go 5 degrees more to the left, but you can probably see there are these like little 3 lakes
Sure.
just down here. I normally just go slightly to
Sky Park
north of those.
Cruiser 6270 X-ray, taxi from ramp, turn up, Sky Park.
Somebody over here somewhere.
Got him, yeah.
A little bit
I
higher.
mean, on the iPad.
Yeah.
Sky Park traffic, RANS 832 Juliet Kilo is taking runway 17 for departure. We'll depart northbound off of the downwind, Sky Park traffic.
Sky Park traffic, Cherokee 111 Quebec, turning base, runway 17, touch and go, Sky Park traffic.
The other thing, of course, you've got a bit of wind coming from the south, so you'll tend to sort of begin to drift this way a bit as well, if you sort of feel you're not quite on heading.
I wondered if the wind would push the tails, you know, so that the nose points left of where I want to go. Is that a thing?
Well, if you're on the ground, it might be, but in the air, you know, the whole aeroplane is in the air mass, so it's not really going to be having that much effect. But yeah, if you're taxiing on the ground, you know, because you've got that big vertical surface for the tail, you can sometimes find you're having to work a bit harder to make a turn, for example, because the wind is pushing one way and you're trying to turn the other.
Sky Park traffic, RANS 2 Juliet Kilo is departing the pattern off of the crosswind and will be maneuvering over Bountiful. Sky Park traffic.
Sky Park traffic, Cherokee 118 Quebec, turning cross on runway 17, Sky Park traffic.
We've got somebody up here, 700 feet below us. I wonder if that's... well, I guess we're more than 1,000 feet, aren't we? So yeah, they're probably just... I just wondered if there might have been a Mosquito control aircraft.
It ends in Bravo Foxtrot, so I wonder if it's one of the trainers.
It'll be one of the trainers then from Bountiful, yeah.
Looks like there's two out here. There's an 8 Tango as well.
Oh, I think I can see one of them down here, down low. It's a long way away from us.
He's coming right at us though.
Yeah, but he's way down below us. I mean, if he tried, he couldn't climb up here.
Oregon Air, 400 kilo, coming through Ogden Canyon at 7,200.
I saw him a minute ago, way down low, but he's not no factor for us.
This shows him 800 feet below. I got him off the left, just passing underneath us there.
All right, yeah.
There's an X-ray Delta ahead of us.
X-ray Delta is us, isn't it?
This is a 4-5 X-ray Delta.
Oh right, interesting.
Yeah, crossing our path, same altitude.
Another X-ray Delta.
There, I got him visually, you see him?
Yep.
Am I okay to press on where I am?
Sure, yeah, no factor at all there. Yeah, by the time we get there, he's going to be way over by Antelope Island, so not a problem.
That's funny. It always bothered me when somebody in the air had a similar call sign.
Yeah, that is funny.
Cool it, that's fine.
But what is it, I wonder? Can't quite make it out.
Yeah, me neither. A little bit of like static in my headset, almost like engine noise. Do you have anything like that?
Nope.
So I wonder if it's just the way I've got this connected somehow. It's just like a crackling noise.
I mean, I'm chewing gum, so that could be it.
I don't think so. I've heard the gum before, but this is...
Yeah.
Here at X-ray, runway 17, heading northbound Quebec.
Yeah, I'm not getting any crackling, so it may be...
I mean, routing it through the camera, I think, probably introduces...
Yeah, some sort of...
opportunity for that.
Yeah. I mean, I do hear engine noise, but that's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. So engine failure right now, what would you do? Go right to those farms? Or, like, is the ground solid enough here to our left that you could actually...
My guess is it's solid enough to the left. I mean, both could be options, but because you've got ditches and stuff for irrigation there, I'd be inclined just to go straight ahead, actually.
Just that sort of salty patch there?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I'd just go... I'd be pretty sure, given the colour, that bit right ahead of us is solid enough, and we'd probably make that.
Yeah.
You know, because we're doing 120 close, so if we had engine failure now, we would gain a bit of altitude right away.
Right.
We'd get back to 80, and then I think we'd be able to land straight ahead down there. Now, of course, we'd be landing downwind, but, you know, at that point, it's a big open area. I wouldn't be too worried about that either, versus trying to make a turn or anything.
Skypark traffic, 3118 Quebec, on downwind for runway 17, Skypark traffic.
Given what we've got down there, I mean, that would be okay too, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we
It's like some cattle.
make a base leg and just land down in there. And even that stuff over there, because it's very light color, it's probably pretty dry. We know there hasn't been a lot of rain.
And we're in August, so yeah, better than spring. So,
Skypark traffic, 4627, Sierra X-ray, turning left crossing runway 17, Skypark.
So why don't you come up parallel to the railroad here in a bit, and then at about the right point to start some maneuvers, and I think your altitude's fine here. And then let's try and do a few S-turns backwards and forwards across the railroad track, because we've got a southerly wind.
Cherokee 1118 Quebec.
So you get to find that kind of messes with you a bit, and that'll be good for ground reference maneuvers.
And basically,
67 Sierra X-ray on the left downwind for runway 17.
when I'm on the north side of the railway, I'm going to expect a higher bank angle than when I'm on the south side.
Correct. Yeah. But you know, when you're on the south side, you're going to have to make sure you don't start your turn too soon, because otherwise you're going to be blown back. And because you're relative, you know, you're kind of close to 1,500 feet, you're fine. But also, you don't want to be cranking in sort of 80 degrees of bank or anything like that, just because you'll frighten me.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so maybe I'll make a right turn here and cross that.
Yeah, get perpendicular with it, and then see how that first turn goes.
Okay.
And what I'd do, I'd start the first turn, you know, pretty much as you cross the railroad track, I'd start making the turn about then, right? Because you're going to be drifting downwind.
Okay.
And see how that first one goes, and that'll give you a little bit of a gauge. Right, so if your wing's level about here is good.
Does that look perpendicular?
Close enough.
Okay, 5,700. Okay, crossing the railroad, start the left turn.
And that's probably good right there.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more now. Your rudder's good.
Thank you.
And just keep that bank in. You let a little bit go there.
Yeah,
so
I
just
did.
keep it in.
Climbing a little.
You're fine. You're good. And you know, I think we've got about 10 knots of wind or something here. You know, it's not a huge amount, but it's enough to mess with you.
So I might not quite make it back to perpendicular.
You'll be good. You'll be good. Right. So now, wings level.
Okay, wings level.
And then you want to just wait a little bit.
Yeah.
And then maybe start your turn now. And yeah, there's something like that's probably pretty good right there. See how that works. Just a tad more right rudder.
Okay.
That's good. Very good. I think this is going to be nice. Just keep that same bank angle in.
Yeah, it's all right.
So, you know, you can be kind of patient too, because, I mean, I'd say it's pretty good.
Not quite perpendicular.
Not quite, but not bad. I'd get perpendicular before you start your next one.
Got it.
Yeah, so maybe in the end there we should have just cranked in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right, I'd start now, because otherwise you're going to drift too far downwind.
Yeah.
So that's good. Bit of left rudder, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm way far away from the railroad compared
Yeah,
to
it's
my first
interesting,
turn.
isn't it? You see, because we started just a few seconds later.
Yeah.
It's still not bad, right? I mean, so they're perpendicular now. So across the railway, then maybe give just a little bit further than we did last time.
Sure, yeah.
But the bank angle, I think, was good last time. Everything else is good. Altitude's good. That's good. A little bit of right rudder. And probably a little bit more bank angle than that. Just a frac. Yeah, that's probably good right there. Yeah, a little bit more bank.
Yeah, it should be about halfway by now, right?
Yeah. Which you're pretty close, right? I mean, that looks good.
Yeah.
You got the... And now that last one, yeah, because we began to drift in a bit more quickly as we got, you're probably just a little bit more bank at the end.
Right,
here.
right.
And then you're going to be just perfect.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, that's very good.
Actually, a little
So,
early.
no, that's very good. As soon as you get over, begin your bank
To the
back.
left.
Yeah,
Okay, there's the line.
and you're climbing just a little bit
Thank you.
less back pressure, but obviously need some back pressure. But that's a nice bank angle right there.
What is that, about 30 or am I over 30?
No, that's about it. Yeah, standard rate turn you've got going.
Lost 100 feet though.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. That's all right. You're not bad. You might want to crank it in a little
Yeah, I
bit
was going
more.
to say, that one I'm going to have to
But not
bring it
bad, not
around.
bad.
I think I might make it.
Yep, I think you're going to make it. Wings level. Wings level. Right, and then one more.
Okay. Just be patient
Be
here.
patient, yeah.
Okay. Don't feel like I'm getting as much wind this time.
Well, you may not be. I mean, the wind's probably variable around here, so. But I think this is looking good. You know, you're going to be lined up pretty much, kind of, again. Look down the wingtip there, you see it. And again, this time I think you're going to, right near the end, you're going to probably want to just slightly increase the bank angle. Not too much,
Right.
but a bit.
Right.
But then we can just maybe...
Because the wind is sort of pushing me back over the railroad,
That's right, yeah. So then we'll just head straight north from here. So those were nice. I think when you look at the ground track on those, you're going to actually be pleased with that.
Yeah, that was all right. The middle one is the puffy one. The other two look okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing how red the color is this time
Isn't
of
it?
year.
Yeah, and how funny it changes so much.
Do you mind taking the controls so I
Sure.
can snap a photo?
Sure, sure.
Your flight controls?
Yeah, I got them here. We'll go a little bit of a side slip here so you can get it out the window. Is that what you want?
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. That's just wild.
Just that reflection is kind of cool.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. That's awesome. So do you do that without losing altitude? Do you just pitch up a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little bit of back pressure on. You know, I've got a bunch of left rudder in, and I've got the. So I'm just, you know, if I was really good, right, and we were higher up, you know, we go much further onto sort of knife edge, but I'm not that good, sorry.
Well, it's crazy. I was chatting with Craig, and he mentioned that his uncle, or I guess it's his wife's uncle, died in a Long Easy over Long Beach. Do you know that story?
Wasn't John Denver, was he?
No, yeah. I mentioned to him that he was also in a long easy, and Craig was surprised to learn that.
Because wasn't that at Long Beach?
I actually thought it was out by Santa Monica.
Oh, maybe you're right, yeah. Do you want to fly or you fly?
Oh, sure, yeah, thanks.
Whatever. Yeah,
get my flight controls.
Yeah.
But Craig was telling me, oh yeah, the engine died and he went into the ocean. I thought, wow, it's an interesting story. He said he had a Subaru engine in it. So I decided to go look it up on NTSB, and turns out the engine was fine. He was hot dogging over the water and pulled a really steep right turn, and the nose dropped and he cartwheeled in. But witnesses were like, engine was high RPM. He was, you know, cruising along the water at 200 feet or something, and then they watched him cartwheel, and he was 3 miles from the coast.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, really kind of terrible. I told him, I said, I don't mean to disrupt your family stories, but evidence is that the engine was fine. They even, you know, went and scooped it up off the bottom of the ocean floor and inspected it.
Right. Yeah, there's, I mean, another good lesson there, right? I mean, it's fun to do that, but is it really fun enough relative to the risks of doing that?
Well, I just wonder, you know, putting the airplane up on its wing, you know, the nose is going to drop. So was he prepared for that, or I don't know? It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's of course lots of factors could come into that. I mean, I don't know whether the you know, it's a canard, so you know, if he's really pulling back, you can stall the canard, you know, the foreplane.
Interesting.
But you know, it's meant to be sort of essentially self-righting because it would bobble down. Now, if you're in a steep bank turn, just might that have changed something? I don't know. But
right above the water, you don't have a lot of time to fix it.
I think they changed the wing section on the foreplane on the Long Easy's. John Ronks, or whatever his name is, designed a new one that was less vulnerable to rain, because they were finding they were getting losing lift on the foreplane in rain, I guess.
Wow.
And so that was creating some problems with the earlier ones. That's just from memory. That may be inaccurate, but I seem to remember there was something done about that. And in fact, I'm sure this wasn't the case because it was a Long Easy that has ailerons on it, but the prototype Very Easy, you know, just had elevons.
Oh wow!
Had no ailerons on the wings, just had elevons and rudders, and that apparently suffered from control reversal. So because of the you know, mixing roll and pitch into the same control, in that prototype, if they cranked it over, it would reach a point where it would reverse.
Wow.
And the story goes, I don't know if it's true, that Bertrand had flown it and observed this. Let his brother get it, didn't tell him about it, just to see what he thought. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but it's a good story.
Wow.
You know, Dick in particular was a very high-time pilot, so. But, you know, it was okay enough as long as you weren't making really steep bank turns. Then they flew it out to Oshkosh and, you know, did a record run with it that year.
Do you want me to press on?
Well, what would you like to do? We're kind of flying along here. I was just sort of daydreaming.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't have any plans, just cruising.
We certainly have enough fuel. If you wanted to go up around by Golden Spike, we could do that. I don't know if they've got the trains out at the moment. When I went past there a couple of weeks ago, they had the trains out.
Oh, fun. Seems like they would do this time of year. I'm just finishing that book on Vulcan 607, and in the epilogue, he tells the story of the Vulcan that had to divert to Rio. And it's pretty fascinating, his approach. You know, they weren't sure how they'd be received, and so he kept it at 20,000 feet as he approached the runway. And when they finally got clearance, he did an emergency descent. They said 60-degree bank, he lost 19,000 feet, kind of, you know, a mile short of the runway.
And they do that in a spiral?
Yeah, just a
descending spiral.
And he said the trick was balancing, you know, coming out of that on time so that you're not too high or too low.
Right.
You know, they were so short on fuel, he didn't really have another chance at it.
Right.
So he comes out of that and said he's too high. So he pulled this maneuver. He said, I hadn't practiced it in 20 years, but you basically approach stall and the Vulcan would just flutter, you know, drop. And then you could add power to come out of it. And he did that. He dropped right down onto the glide slope and then gave it power and landed. So I'm just like, that's a pretty gutsy maneuver. The instructor that taught him nearly died doing it, and in fact called him later and said, don't ever try that. But he did in that instance.
Well, and I think that again, you know, comes into this category of when you don't have a lot of other options, then you know, just fly the aeroplane, but don't be too hung up on what you're doing if it's a bit different than normal. You know, that's true of lots of things like, well, we'll see when we get back there. Hopefully the wind will be down the runway. But crosswind landings, over the years, I've just tried to force myself, without a lot of success, to remember that really all that matters is what's outside the windscreen there and staying on the center line. And where the controls are is completely, you know, aimed at keeping that straight down the runway. So you don't need to be thinking, do I have full aileron or do I not, or what am I doing?
Yeah.
You just want to keep that picture the same so that you're going to land straight. And whereas if you're sort of obsessed with where are the controls right now, you're probably more likely to get yourself into trouble because actually you're losing the reference. But they must have called the airport there at Rio, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They just, you know, Rio wasn't happy because they didn't give them details on who they were and why they were there and what kind of plane it was.
Yeah.
They just said 4-engine military. So they scrambled 2 F-5s to intercept, but the F-5s were routed not to intercept, but to the original point, and so missed him. But they finally got a different controller who spoke English, you know, better English, and that guy was super friendly. He was like, yeah, you're, you know, if you're low on fuel, just, you're cleared to land.
Well, I mean, it's an emergency, isn't it? So they should be receptive in that situation. Feels like there's a bit more wind up here, but
yeah,
but it's less on our tail. Looking at the airspeed or the ground speed, it's so it's probably sort of bouncing off those hills in some way.
I didn't look at windy before we took off to see what it would be doing.
So it might be a bit turbulent just around the corner here.
Yeah.
Because the wind's probably coming from a sort of quartering tailwind by the feel of it. And going to be bouncing off around there. But
should I take a different line?
No, you're good. You're good. Just be prepared that you're maybe bouncing around a bit, and just remember you're flying the aeroplane, not the aeroplane. flying the aeroplane.
Suppose I need more altitude, or do you suppose I want more altitude?
I think you're good here. I mean,
Okay.
it's
This says we're 1500 AGL right now.
yeah, and I think it just may be a bit turbulent around there, but we'll see. I don't think we're going to get a sudden downdraft because we haven't got really a steep enough and big enough feature beside us here. That's my guess anyway, so let's hope that's right.
Seems like I'd be able to see the trains now, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. Oh well.
I was just going to give a little distance between me and that hill and then
Sure,
make a left
that's
turn.
fine. That's absolutely fine. Good idea.
Well, I didn't do that very well because now I won't be able to see anything. I'm going to just scoot over to the right a bit.
Sure.
And come back.
Yeah, I don't see the trains. Oh, well, you can see them. They're actually just outside the...
Oh, sure,
here.
yeah.
Do you want me to just fly from
Sure,
here?
yeah.
We can...
The flight controls.
I got them.
That's
You
fine.
want to take a look at that?
That's cool. Wonder if they're just prepping them for the day, because it seems like August they'd still be running them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's even a crowd outside. Maybe they're getting ready to roll them out.
Fun.
What time of the day is it? 10:02.
There you go. If you want to get back to flying.
My flight controls. So do you want me to press on and go in a loop, or do a 180 and go back over that spot? What's your preference?
I don't mind, whichever your preference is. I mean, we've got about the same distance either way.
I mean, I wouldn't mind them seeing move the trains if they're going to do it soon.
Well,
I mean, the fact that there's a crowd.
start a turn in that case before you get to this mountain here.
Okay.
That's fine. That's great. That's good. Very good. You're fine. So nose is down a little bit,
I see that.
but that's actually okay because we'll maybe get a better look at them as we go by.
I think, yeah.
Do you know what time they normally do that stuff?
You know, I don't. Just the fact that there's a crowd assembling there made me think 10 o'clock, but
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
It's cool.
It is, isn't it? I just think it's amazing how it wasn't that long ago.
Summer and I started watching Full Steam Ahead. Do you know it?
Nope.
It's a BBC production about how the railroad transformed, you know, the world and England in particular. And it's these three historians, Ruth Goodman and two other guys. They're the same ones that do Victorian Farm and Edwardian Farm and Tudor Farm.
Oh, great.
But they are basically going back to the beginning of sort of rail travel. And what's amazing to me is how many people in Britain still, you know, as a hobby, I guess, keep those steam engines alive. I mean, some of them are from like the 1830s and 1840s. You know, they don't even look like steam engines in terms of the way they operate.
Sure.
The old mining lines and the narrow gauge rails, and I mean, it's really amazing. But they, you know, can sort of go back and recreate all of those things.
I always used to like going to the Science Museum and seeing, you know, the old things like Stephenson's rocket and the big beam engines, steam engines, you know, they had for industry and pumping water and stuff like that. So we're into the wind now, so we're going to be bounced around a bit, but just keep heading kind of home at this point. But okay. But no, I mean, I kind of get it. It's a bit like aeroplanes and cars. You know, people have an enthusiasm about something, and it gives them something else to do in their lives and to focus on, and it's interesting and got some history associated with it.
It's really amazing. I mean, the one guy he had a sort of a tractor-looking thing that you could drive on the road and, you know, run by steam. And he was, you know, puffing up and down the road and said this engine served, you know, the company that bought it for 50 years.
Yep.
You know, it's not like it wore out. You know, it's just a bit of maintenance.
Well, so those traction engines, I don't know if you ever saw an advert for them in England, but they have traction engine rallies where people who restore these things, and some are just beautiful, will bring them along and, you know, meet in a field, and people walk around, look at them, and they add them, sort of connect them up to restored threshing machines, and they have tractor pulls and stuff like that.
Wow.
And sometimes, yeah, you will actually see them on a road going somewhere, although normally they're, you know, trucked, but some of them are just stunning. But yeah, before you had diesel tractors, you had steam tractors.
They demonstrated plowing a field.
Yep.
Where they would put, you know, a steam engine on either end of the field and a cable would pull the plow along.
Yep.
Pretty fascinating.
Yep.
And they said we can only use a small fraction of the power available. It's like if I gave this full power, it would pull the other tractor toward me.
Right. Another thing that's kind of amazing in the Science Museum is there's one of the compound steam engines. It's sort of a little bit hidden away from Hiram Maxim's steam-powered aeroplane. So he built a steam-powered aeroplane in 1894.
Wow.
And that was huge. And it was, you know, stood like 3 stories high. It was that huge.
Did it actually fly?
Well, it did. And you know, so there's a certain amount of, you know, there's a certain amount of sort of energy around were the Wright brothers really the first to fly, because you had Hiram Maxim in 1894 got airborne in this big steam-powered aeroplane that sort of looked like a huge kite. But
that's amazing. I mean, just the weight.
Oh yeah. And if you Google it, you see, you know, the runs they did with it in Kent on a railway track, which was a dedicated straight track they built. They had outriggers that stopped it going more than, you know, a couple of feet off the rail.
Oh, I see.
You know, because they were testing. It was a sort of big test bed, really. And you know, they'd have 3 or 4 guys standing on it, on this platform. Hiram Maxim, like in a long coat, hat, sort of hand up here at the steam throttle. I mean, it's just incredibly Victorian.
Wow.
And but really interesting. And so, you know, I think it's hard for anybody to say that they didn't get airborne. The question is, was it in any sort of control? And I think, you know, obviously the answer is probably no, because I mean it was firstly got trapped by the outriggers, and then actually they had enough lift that it broke the rail, which was a wooden rail that the outriggers were under, and then it lurched off the rail and was broken. We also had Clément Adair in France with his kind of bat-like aeroplane, which again was steam powered, and again probably not something that was able to get off the ground under control, but it may well have got off the ground. And so, you know, the French claim that Adair was before the Wright brothers. The thing with the Wright brothers is they kind of solved kind of all of the problems rather than just 80% of them. You know, they had a lifting wing section, they had a light engine, they had, you know, propellers that were reasonably efficient, they had some level of control. So, yeah, all pretty interesting.
You okay with this line?
Yeah, sure.
We do have a bit of water to cross, but I was sort of aiming for that little hill.
I think we're fine. I think this is good.
It did smooth out a bit, getting away from the hill.
Yeah, from the hills, yeah.
Can you tell the headwind from the ground speed? Like,
essentially, I'm just looking at it. It's not that much right now. So, you know, it probably is, you know, like you were saying down there, variable. It probably is a bit variable, because right now, for our power setting and everything, we're about where we should be. So I'm guessing there's really not much wind right here, right now. You know, maybe a few knots, but that's it.
When I woke up this morning and looked out the window, the neighbor's tree was really kind of rocking in the wind. I thought, oh, well, I guess no flying today.
Yeah.
That was the last I thought of it until I saw your text.
Well, let's hope that it's some wood. Let's hope that it's just like that when we get, or, you know, just like this when we get back to the airfield.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at the Salt Lake forecast, it looked like it wasn't until 2 o'clock or even later that you get, you know, sort of 16 knots. Up until then, it was 8 to 12 or 6 to 10.
The thing that was amazing about Maxim's, you know, he was the same Hiram Maxim that developed or designed the Maxim gun, machine gun.
Okay.
And did some, he was also in a fight with Edison over the incandescent light bulb and all sorts of stuff. He's an American but lived in England. And just one of those kind of remarkable engineers that, you know, kind of pop up at different times in history, and kind of multidisciplined. But the steam engine he designed was this compound steam engine where, you know, you got, I guess it has 2 cylinders, and so you've got a primary cylinder and then you recapture still some energy that's excess from the kind of primary cylinder into a second one, and then he had a sort of condenser to, you know, save water. And I'm not sure what it was fired by, come to think of it. It must have been like a liquid, alcohol or something like that. Don't know, gas maybe. But just really fascinating. I don't know if Corey's interested in something that far back, you know, given his sort of sweet spot is World War II, but...
Well, he does love these series that we watch, because, you know, all of them we've watched.
Right.
And this Full Steam Ahead is just awesome.
Well, you should have him Google Hiram Maxim's 1894 aircraft. And it's just this really interesting story. I mean, it shows just how a whole bunch of different people at that time were really close to kind of cracking the code of how you're going to have a practical aeroplane.
When we were in Idaho, they had a guy there who had on display 5 or 6 little sort of farm engines. Some were, you know, gasoline, some were steam. But, you know, they'd use them for water pumps and I don't know what all. you know, small little things, but he had them all operating.
Right.
You know, hissing and popping and whatever they do. It was pretty cool to see, you know, somebody can keep those things running.
Yep, yep. So Grace lives just overlooking Limehouse Basin. There's a little marina there, and they get quite a few of the longboats parked in there, either as, you know, residences, or a few of them are operating longboats that, you know, shift kind of fuel and stuff between marinas and things. And you know, I don't know how you can make a living doing that, but it must be, for those who are enthusiastic about it, an interesting lifestyle.
Are they still driven by old engines?
Yeah, and so there was one, in fact, I will show you, I took a little video of it, because it's obviously a single cylinder, probably diesel, and it's turning so slowly that you literally hear each kind of pop of the cylinder.
Wow.
So, boom, 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 like that. I mean, it's amazing.
It says there's somebody 2,000 feet above. I was wondering if it's an F-35.
Oh, that'd be fun. Maybe he'd like to come and have a look at us and do something fancy for us.
Crossing from the left. Doesn't seem to be fast enough.
No. That F-35 display at Oshkosh was pretty special.
Just amazing, yeah. Both, you know, the Air Force and the Navy, you know. I actually think I really liked the Air Force demonstration, but that Navy pilot didn't hold back, you know. It was pretty exciting. You okay if I press on here?
Sure, yeah, no, just press on. I think you're doing a nice job. I'm just enjoying the view.
You know, ForeFlight makes a prediction of glide slope, and right now it's predicting that I'd want to turn around if I lost the engine rather than press on.
Well, you've got something over here that looks reasonably solid. But yeah, if you lost the engine now, you wouldn't want to be going straight ahead unless you were going to be really clever at landing on a dike or something. But
I guess that is possible, right? I mean, they have roads. Why not?
I mean, if you had no alternative, that's what you'd be looking for. You have to be pretty precise, but you see something like that bit down there is probably wide enough.
You kind of want the wind right down the runway, huh? So, should I not head straight for the towers?
Well, I think you're okay. You're slightly to the right of them. You know, there are a couple of towers the other side there. But I think where you are right now, you're okay.
Okay. Just on ForeFlight, it looks like I'm headed right for the symbol for obstacle.
Yeah, well, but I think you're actually just a little bit to the right of it. I mean, ForeFlight probably has a position error.
Yeah.
That accounts for that. But yeah, you've got the two at the top here, but there are also two bigger ones that I don't think are as high, just the other side as well.
It does look like we could have, you know, could land here on the right. They have those three big tractors just out our right window.
Yeah, I mean, if your tractor's wide enough, we're probably about the same. But right here, you're fine because you've got straight ahead, right? You've got this area down here and then beyond the railroad track.
I was reading an article last night from the Flight Training magazine, and they were talking about, you know, why do you do all these maneuvers? Why do you learn S-turns, and why do you learn short field, and so forth? And then they kind of illustrated real-life examples where those skills come in handy. You know, and one of which was emergency landings. Oh, I see the ones you're talking about, just on the other side of the hill.
Just on the other side, yeah. So they're actually taller towers, but they're lower down.
Yeah. So ground speed 101, does that mean we're headwind here?
So now we've got about a 10-knot headwind right now. So, you know, back there was less, right here there's more, so it's variable. And in fact, if you look over there at that lake, the sort of second one,
Sure.
you can actually see the surface of the water quite disrupted.
Okay, yeah.
So that's obviously getting quite a bit of wind right there.
So I'm going to aim for that, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't spent enough time doing this to recognize that that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
But I can see it even here on this close one.
Sure. And also you'll see, it varies, right? You can see the different sort of texture on the surface there.
Yeah.
It's because the wind's, gusting a bit. And we know that it was due to be. I mean, we know that we had a forecast 8 knots or so, or actually I think it was 8 miles an hour, but gusting 29 or something. So, that's quite a difference. So there's probably a reasonable amount of gustiness.
So for 1.7, will you just join base, or do you actually do the teardrop and come in on downwind?
Let's see how many people are down there when we get closer. I mean, if there's nobody around or very little activity, I'd be inclined to join the base just because it's more direct. But I'm also not averse to going around joining on the downwind. And partly because you just want to make sure if you're joining on base, you're configured just as you would be if you were turning from downwind to base.
Yeah.
You don't want to be just steaming in, because otherwise things feel different and the approach isn't the same. Yeah, but you look at the water surface there, you see close in here is calm.
Yeah.
Further out, it's actually quite disrupted. And that also shows just the effect. So the reason it's calm down there is the wind must be coming probably a bit from over here.
So it's protected by that little thing.
Yeah, just protected a bit. And so right down there in the kind of the boundary layer, stuff like that ground cover, that green ground cover there, actually really is calming the wind quite a lot versus, a bit further out where it can then actually hit the surface of the water. Which is why, also in crosswind landings, it's so easy to overcompensate. I do that. Because as you get into the flare, you may have actually much less wind than you've had on the approach, obviously, because you're
sort of below it.
You're down into the boundary layer of air flow over the surface, and so sometimes you can have a bunch of correction cranked in, and you begin your flare, and you've still got it there, and actually need to be taking some of it out, and then you're kind of fighting it a bit more, and then that just makes you more intimidated for next time. So we've got a few aeroplanes, you can see them on the
one
screen.
Coming at us, one going the same direction, another one coming at us. The two coming at us are same altitude.
Yeah. Well, you can go down a bit if you want. We're almost 6,000 feet.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Did you have either visually?
Nope, not yet.
Looks like the one at same altitude is turning, to our left.
I'm showing 4 of them, but I suspect it's probably just 3.
I see 3 here.
Oh yeah, 3. One was giving 2 different returns. Yeah, so they're all higher than us now.
Where am I altitude?
You're about 5,600, that's good. Oh, I see one of them up here.
Is that the...
That's the one that's crossing, plus 2.
Got him. There's somebody off our left. crossing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I see him too.
Got it.
Got it. So you got two of them, and then there's another one out, and I've got him too,
S.
which looks like that's a Delta flight coming out of Salt Lake, climbing.
He's crossing right over top of the guy that's in front of us, 7 Sierra X-ray. Says he is 900 feet above.
Yeah.
Going the same direction we are.
So you can begin to turn about 10 degrees into the left here now. So you just sort of head between those little lakes and the new road they're building here.
Yeah, okay. Are you okay on fuel?
We good?
We went to lunch for Timo's birthday and walked over to Sawadee. On the walk, we found a lady stranded in the middle of the road in her car. So, you know, Timo ran out to check on her, and she said she had run out of gas.
Right.
And said, oh, well, my fuel gauge is broken. I was like, oh, well.
That'll do it.
Yeah, luckily a good Samaritan came with a Sierra X-rays falling in behind us, same altitude.
Skypark traffic, Sport Cruiser 6270 X-rays over Lagoon 6000 inbound Skypark.
Last final 17.
Skypark traffic, Sky 36 Lima, currently at 6,300. I'll be descending in order to make a 45-degree entrance on the downwind for runway 17, Skypark. Skypark traffic, last air 560 Golf over the North Refinery. Anybody in the area, please advise.
We got 7 planes in the area, not counting us, for the
Skypark
Seagulls.
traffic, last air 560 Golf has the traffic on final for runway 17, number 2, Skypark. Skypark traffic, Sky 36 Lima, setting up for the, entering the 45 for runway 17, Skypark. Skypark traffic, last air 560 Golf, a mile and a half final for runway 17. Skypark.
Looks like there's 2 over by the temple.
And Skypark X-ray Deltas over the central interchange, 5,600. I'm going to maneuver to enter on the 45 left downwind 17.
Skypark traffic, Sky 36 Lima, entering the downwind off the 45 for runway 17. Skypark. Skypark traffic, radio check. Clear. Skypark traffic, Sky 36 Lima, turning left, base, runway 17. Skypark traffic, last air 560 Golf, cleared the active taxi to park.
For traffic, Diamond Star 457, Tango Lima, holding short 17, landing traffic, Skypark.
Skypark traffic, Sport Cruiser 6270 X-ray, just east Centerville interchange, 5,500, inbound, Skypark. Skypark traffic, Sky 36 Lima, turning final for 17, full stop, Skypark.
X-ray Delta's southeast of Bountiful Sky Park, just about to make a right turn onto the 45 for left downwind 17. X-ray Delta's on the 45 for 17 Skypark.
Skypark traffic, Sport Cruiser 6270 X-ray over the town of Bountiful. We'll be setting up for a 45 for the left downwind runway 17, full stop Skypark. Skypark traffic, Rand 2 Juliet Kilo. We're just west of the Bountiful B at 6,700 and we're turning southbound. Skypark traffic.
Skypark traffic, Diamond Star 457, Tango Lima, lap and wait runway 17 for departure, Skypark.
X-ray Delta's left downwind 17 Skypark. X-ray Delta's turning base leg 17.
Skypark traffic, Skyhawk 36 Lima, clear of active 17, Skypark. Skypark traffic, Diamond 457, Tango Lima, rolling runway 17 for left coast traffic, downwind departure to the north, Skypark.
Skypark traffic, Skyhawk 36 Lima, taxiing back from ramp to South Hangars 36 Lima. Skypark traffic, Sport Cruiser 6270 X-ray 45 for the left downwind runway 17, full stop Skypark.
Skypark jump 55 to the east, descending out of 10,000, inbound landing 17.
Traffic Sport Cruiser 6270 X-ray left, downwind 17, full stop Skypark.
Skypark traffic, helicopter 249 Tango Hotel is 5 miles to the southeast, 10,000 descending, be landing at the southeast hangar.
Skypark traffic, Diamond 457, Tango Lima, left crosswind runway 17, Skypark.
Skypark traffic, Sport Cruiser 6270 X-ray left base 17, full stop Skypark.
Well done.
Skypark jump 5, setting up join midfield downwind for 17, we're looking for the crosswind to downwind traffic.
Skypark traffic, Diamond Star 457, Tango Lima, just turned downwind for 17, will be a northbound departure, Skypark.
Skypark traffic, around 2 Juliet Kilo. We're maneuvering over the temple at 6,500. Skypark.
So can I see?
Downwind traffic, jump 5, we got you inside, we'll pass below your joining us for 17.
Skypark traffic, Sport Cruiser 6270 X-ray, final 17, full stop Skypark.
You gonna put some fuel in?
No, I'm just going to taxi back, partly because it's going to be hot and then we may struggle to restart the engine. But I'll just get some fuel next time I go.
Thanks, I even brought my wallet.
Well, that's all right. You just keep it with you. Keep it in that emergency pack for going flying.
I think that Lima Echo is the, president of the chapter here.
Oh, right.
That obviously.
Skypark traffic, helicopter 9 Tango Hotel is 2.5 miles to the southeast, 5,700 inbound for the southeast hangars.
So he's the one that's just landing?
He actually is parked.
Skypark jump 5, left base, final 17, land northeast ramp.
He's parked over in front of the FBO there.
Oh, right.
With the canopy open.
Didn't we have somebody on?
Yeah, there's a guy on final.
Right.
That's Sierra X-ray.
Skypark, hold short traffic. You guys want to take the active or side step out to the east and just land on the taxiway and cross behind you.
Sounds good, thanks. 140 Bravo Foxtrot, we're lining up runway 17.
Do you keep it up for the spark plug's sake?
Yeah, is it,
That girl said she's taking the runway. Do you see her just taxiing?
oh yeah.
Cover traffic.
Yeah,
6270, X-ray, clear runway, covered. For traffic, Diamond Star 457, Tango Lima, Centerville interchange 5,500, getting continuous climb 8,500, southbound departure, cover.
Here, actually, we can open this if you want. Might be pleasant back there.
That's nice.
Okay, anybody
no
on base? Oh no, there's helicopters on the...
Yeah, and there's somebody maybe downwind, but that's...
Okay.
it.
And Skypark Decathlon, 0 X-ray Delta is crossing active west to east. Skypark Chopper 5 is crossing the active west to east at the north end. And we got the red rocket taking the active in front. Thanks, Red Rocket 91 Whiskey's lining up to way 17. Other helicopter to the east, are you going to be crossing the runway?
Negative, I'll be landing east of the runway. I'll be set down momentarily.
And X-ray Delta's clear.
Is that a KSL helicopter?
It could be, yeah.
Skypark Rocket 91 Whiskey's departing 17 via left downwind departure.
Traffic, Sport Cruise 140, Bravo Foxtrot, left crosswind 17, close traffic.
Is that a rocket?
Yep.
Pretty.
It is, yeah. Yeah, there are two of them. They fly around in formation all the time.
For traffic, Diamond 457, Tango Lima over bound full 6,500, continuing climb to 8,500 for southbound departure over Salt Lake. Ever.
There we go. So...
Skypark Rocket 91 Whiskey is turning a left crosswind traffic ahead of you in sight.